Welcome to a Katana demo where we're going to focus mainly on Katana's integration with QuickBooks Online. This is Sean with Katana.
Hi there.
Hey, Sean, and I'm Lance with Brando Consulting. And Sean is going to show us how to set up an integration between Katana and QuickBooks. And then we want to focus on what Katana sends to QuickBooks when a purchase order is fulfilled. And Sean is going to show us what Katana sends to QuickBooks when a sales order is fulfilled. And just so we can see the whole loop, Sean's going to create a sales order, he's going to create a manufacturer order, he's going to create a purchase order, and then he's going to fulfill the purchase order, fulfill the manufacturer order, and fulfill the sales order. And of course, when we fulfill the purchase order, Sean's going to show us what that fulfillment sent to QuickBooks, and when he fulfills the sales order, he's going to show us what that sales order sent to QuickBooks.
That sounds great, Lance. So thanks a lot for bringing me into your YouTube channel. So excited to be here. And really, when we look at Katana and our integration to QuickBooks Online, often what we're hearing is companies are on QuickBooks Desktop and they have to migrate to QuickBooks Online. And as manufacturers, they're losing some functionality that they have with that desktop version, but they want to move to an online cloud-based solution. And so with QuickBooks Online and Katana, we're able to extend out that functionality that QuickBooks Online offers and really help manufacturers better manage their raw material inventory and track production, as well as their costs related to manufacturing their finished goods. So thanks a lot, Lance. Appreciate you introducing the product there. And so maybe where we'll start, as you said, is just showing how you might set up that integration between Katana and QuickBooks Online.
Yeah, let's take a look. It's under settings, right?
That's right, absolutely. So you can see
integration.
That's right, yeah. So you can see here, I'm just logged in through our browser here. Katana is a completely cloud-based solution. I'm going to jump over to the settings area and dive into the integration piece. And so we can see here, we have a couple of direct integrations with Shopify, WooCommerce, QuickBooks, and Xero. We're going to drill into this QuickBooks integration. I'm going to go in and connect up my system to QuickBooks. So I'm going to say, yeah, I want to connect to my, my QuickBooks account that I have set up. And now Katana is going to ask me what sort of version of our integration we want to move forward with. And we're going to look at our more advanced integration, where we're integrating to the balance sheet level with our QuickBooks to Katana integration. We would then select the QuickBooks account. So I don't have too many accounts set up in my QuickBooks solution. So I'll go in and select my sales, my inventory, and my cost of goods sold accounts. Identify what tax rate. I don't have one set up, so I'll just click OK. And so now my system is connected to QuickBooks. So once you have your QuickBooks connection turned on, if we were to jump back to our sales screen, we'll see that on our sales screen, we have our sales orders listed out, and we have this invoice column now added into the system. And so this is how you can go and generate that invoice over in QuickBooks from your sales order within Katana.
And this is what I like about Katana here, this dashboard that shows what's outstanding, what's in stock, what can be fulfilled, when it's expected to come in. I think a lot of people like to see that, but I don't want to derail us and get us off topic. But that's just something that attracts me to Katana. But yeah, let's create a sales order and put some more demand in here.
Yeah, that sounds great, Lance. And I totally agree with you. The sales item, the ingredients, and the production, and so the color coding aspect of it really helps you understand where you're at with your open orders. Let's go add one into the system here. So I'll go into the plus sign, and I'm going to go and create a sales order in our system. So we're going to identify our customer, Mary, and we can go and put in the product that we're selling. Let's say we're going to sell a chair. And we can see I've got my lounge chair, which is a product that we have set up within the system. And let's say Mary's looking to purchase 5 lounge chairs off of us today. You'll notice that right away, when I enter in that line item on our sales order, the system will identify that I don't have enough finished goods in stock to fulfill that sales order. And I actually don't have enough ingredients or raw materials in inventory to fulfill that sales order either. If I was to
it
go
must
and create
not
a
take us very
manufacturing order.
long to make these because the expected date is today. So it's got high expectations for us to get this done and make these. What are these lights? Make these Mary lights.
These are chairs, and that's actually a great
Mary
point.
Light was the customer. Excuse me. So make the lounge chairs.
The lounge chairs, exactly. We want to be comfortable here in our lounge chairs.
Yeah.
But actually what you're looking at there is the ingredients. So this is when we expect to receive in the ingredients that are going to make up our lounge chair. So it's the bill of materials related to our lounge chair that we're looking into here. Okay. And most systems don't give you that visibility, right? From your sales order line item, you're actually able to see, do I have the raw materials in stock to actually make this finished good?
So it's looking at available to build.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. So what are the ingredients? What are the components in this lounge chair that we're short on?
So if we wanted to go and take a look at that, we could go and look at our item card and open up, our bill of material related to that item card. Yeah. If I go in, okay, we can go and do that for sure. So I can pop open our item card here. And we can see we have our lounge chair, we have our general information related to it, and then we have our bill of material and our operations. So if I want to jump over to our bill of material, we can see this product is made out of 2 meters of wood and some black paint. Okay. So those are the materials that we require in order to manufacture a lounge chair.
Okay.
All right.
And so the lead time from the vendor for the wood and the black paint, that vendor must just live right across the street, because it says the lead time for the expected date of getting this in is today. So we must have a close by vendor. All right. That
could be the case, or we may already have had a purchase order in the system. Okay. Which I actually think is probably, so that would, what's happened here is we already have a PO in the system for whatever we're missing on that ingredients list. And so that purchase order is what we're waiting on. So we can see here, we're missing black paint.
Oh, beautiful.
All right. And the PO that's on is PO number 3. And so we're waiting to receive in 5 liters of black, or that's what we're missing, but we're waiting to receive in this purchase order PO3. And I can actually go and open that up if I wanted to find out more information on that specific purchase order.
Awesome. Yeah. So, that's great. Okay.
All right. So we have our sales order in the system. Now there's 2 ways you can create a manufacturing order within Katana. So one is a make to order job. The other is a make to stock job. So make to order is typically maybe a customizable product or something that's rather expensive, and you're going to manufacture that specific to your client's order or your customer's order. The other option is a make to stock environment where you're manufacturing maybe a standardized product that you're going to try and maintain an inventory of, so you have maybe a shorter lead time. So now most of the time companies do a combination of both, and the nice thing about Katana is we can handle both workflows quite well within our system. So if I was to go ahead and create a manufacturer to order job, I would just click make and hit make to order. And this would create a manufacturing order directly related to this sales order that we're creating in the system.
Nice. Okay. I like the make and batch option too. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So Katana does have batch traceability, as well as in that scenario, it's actually going to consolidate all of the requirements against that individual finished product and allow you to create that batch order. So our sales order has been entered in the system. We've got the SO2. The same information is listed here, so we can see that we don't have the finished good in stock. We do have some ingredients that are outstanding but on an open PO, and we haven't created a manufacturing order just yet.
Now, it looks
So
like you're just going to click that make button right there and create a manufacturer order. Am I right?
we can do that. When you originally described the workflow, we were thinking of maybe looking at the demand and creating sort of a manufacturer to stock order, because that allows us to look at all the demand and build that finished
I
good
like
to
that
stock.
better. I like aggregating, because if we aggregate, our manufacturing is more efficient. So
that's right. Yeah, exactly. So why don't we take a look at jumping over to our stock screen, and we can see how we would consolidate all of our demand together to then create our manufacturing order. So if I jump over to products, so products are things we make and sell. We can see here a list of all of our products, and there's really 4 pieces of information we're gathering to determine how much we need to go and manufacture. So we have our in-stock quantity, we have our expected, we have our committed, which means demand from sales orders, and then we have a reorder point, or how much do we want to actually keep in stock. And so I can consolidate this list and only look at items that are below my reorder point, okay? Or items that I actually need to go and manufacture is probably a better definition of what this is showing here. And we can see here our lounge chair. We don't have any in stock.
negative there on the filter, and it shows you everything in the negative. Okay.
Exactly. So what we're looking at now is everything that essentially we should go out and manufacture, because this is taking what we have in stock, what's expected, what's committed, and our reorder point, and calculating out how much we're short, and that's how much we need to go and manufacture. Okay. So for the lounge chair, we can see here committed is 6. So if I wanted to go and see where that demand is coming from, I can click into this order and see where that demand is coming from. So I can see we've got sales order number 2, or sorry, 4, and then there's 2 orders here. And we can see that the reason it's split it up is because we actually have a manufacturing order already in the system that will cover off part of this order that we just put in, but not all of it. It'll only cover 3 pieces. The 2 remaining pieces we'll actually have to create a separate manufacturing order for, or we can go and edit that existing manufacturing order. It's really up to you.
All right.
Okay. So if I wanted to now go and create a manufacturing order, it'll create an order for 12 based on our minimum stocking quantity is 10. So I can go and hit make. I can edit this quantity. Maybe I want to manufacture 15 or 20 because it's more efficient, or we have some demand coming in. But I'll go ahead and I can go and open that order up so we can take a look at what that looks like.
Okay.
So here's our manufacturing order for our lounge chair. Okay, we can see we've got our 12 pieces listed out here that we should manufacture. We have the ability to enter in the actual quantity that we end up producing. So maybe we end up producing 15 or we end up producing 10. You can enter that in here, but still close the manufacturing order out. And then you have the ingredients that you require. And you can see here we have our wood in stock, but we're still waiting on our paint here. So I can go out and create now a purchase order, because there actually isn't a purchase order specifically for the quantity of paint that's required on this manufacturing order, because we actually are creating an order for 12 pieces, which included both the demand from sales orders as well as the minimum stocking quantity that we want to maintain.
And I imagine the same or similar functionality applies, where either you can just click that buy button right there, or you can go back to the product list and see everything you need to buy and aggregate the purchase order. Is that right?
You've got it, exactly. And this is actually one of the differentiators I think that Katana offers when we look at your purchase components, because when we think of committed quantity, I think most systems look at your manufacturing orders creating demand for your raw materials. Whereas what Katana has the ability to do is look at the sales orders that have been entered into the system, and if they don't have a manufacturing order created already, it will still look to the ingredients that are required and create demand against them.
Yeah.
So it shortens the lead time or the amount of time it takes you to actually have visibility of demand against your raw material.
So we didn't even have to create a work order or a manufacturer order in order for the system to see that there was demand for those ingredients.
Exactly.
That is awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, it already saw it. It already went through that backtrack.
Exactly. So it builds that in, and you can see, we've got demand for a number of items here. So you can see that in your committed column. Many of these items we can fulfill, and you can see that on your missing column here. So just as I had done with the manufacturing or product screen, on the material screen, I can put in a negative column here. I can look at the components that we are short or missing based on our current inventory level and our demand, as well as a reorder point. And I can now go and issue a new purchase order. So I would just hit the buy button.
We need some black paint. Let's buy some black paint.
We can buy some black paint, as well as we can go and buy anything else that might be missing from that supplier.
That's a feature I like. Yeah, check on that box.
We'll hit check and then create an open order. So you can see here on the purchase order, we've got our black paint, but we also have brown and cognac that have been added to this, and you can see the quantity that's been added to that purchase order.
Cool.
Okay, so we've created our PO in the system relative to the materials that we required, not only to fulfill our manufacturing order, but other components that were required for us to go and create a purchase order for. So we've now created a PO in the system, PO number 2.
Here's a list of all the POs.
Suppliers.
Okay.
These are all of our open POs, so POs that we haven't received in just yet.
Okay.
And we have the ability then to go in and say that we've received in this purchase order or received in some of that purchase order if we want. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and create a bill over in QuickBooks related to the purchase order that we just generated here. So I'm going to hit the drop down here, hit create bill, and this will connect to our QuickBooks account. And we've now created that bill for our purchase order over in QuickBooks. And I can actually go and open that up within the system.
Let's go take a look. Let's go see this bill we just created.
Sounds good.
That's the nice thing about working in the cloud is as soon as you do it, it's there, right? Like we didn't click sync. It was an immediate sync. I mean, here it is. That's awesome. Wasn't on a timer or anything.
No, it is in real time. So we've got our purchase order that we just had for our different colors of paint, and the dollar amount has all been entered in, and we've got our bill now created within QuickBooks.
Cool.
So at the same time, when this bill is generated in QuickBooks, once we actually receive in the material, that will update your balance sheet. So it'll increase the inventory on your balance sheet.
Yeah. Debit assets, credit payables. Now, I saw that it wasn't received. I think usually some people receive before they enter the bill. Can we see that? Can we go back and receive one?
Yeah, absolutely. So we could go into
let's just go into any of these. Let's just receive any of these POs.
Sure.
Yeah, a different one. There we go.
So we can hit receive all. We've now received in, and we can see our purchase orders that we've received in. And if we then wanted to go and create the invoice related to one of these purchase orders, we could go in and hit create bill. I don't remember the number of the one we just received.
This is really important. I like this design where if it's received, it goes on a different screen. And so you've got your unreceived ones on one tab and your received purchase orders on another tab. Because I think generally a lot of people don't want to record the bill until everything's been received. Not always the case. It's nice to have options. It's nice to have flexibility. So some people can indeed record the bill before it's received. But for most companies, we definitely receive before we bill. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out that I like this design, that we've got everything received on one screen and then everything not received on another screen.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it is nice from a navigation standpoint and kind of helping you control your workflows, as far as sort of generating your open POs, knowing what you need to get received in, what are you waiting on, and then as they're completed, kind of taking them off that list. And so if you did want to go ahead and receive in that that paint, I would just hit receive all, and that's now going to move that over to our other screen there. Okay, so there's a couple ways you could find the manufacturing order related to a specific sales order, but the easiest way, and this is really the nice thing I think about Katana, is just on our sales screen here, you can see here's our sales order. We can see here's our expected completion date of that manufacturing order. Now this is green because we have the ingredients that we need to make our finished good, as well as we have this manufacturing order that says not started. So by us going in and creating that manufacturing order to stock, it's created a manufacturing order related to this sales order because that's where we were fulfilling the demand.
Very nice dashboard. Yeah.
And so now I can go in, take a look at our manufacturing order here. So we actually have two manufacturing orders related to this, MO3 and MO1. MO1 is the one we created. MO3 was the one that was already in the system. So here's the manufacturing order for the 12 pieces that we need to go out and manufacture. And we can see that black paint that we went and purchased is now in stock, but we still need to go and complete the different operations, cutting, assembly, and packaging. Within Katana, you do have the ability to assign this to specific employees, and they would have a task list out on the shop floor that they could work through. We do have a whole sort of scheduling session or section within the system that you can take a look at, but maybe today we'll just focus on, we've got this manufacturing order in the system, assuming that, we're just going to say that it's done, the system will actually go through and just complete all of those steps automatically for us. So we just hit done. And now the system has completed those manufacturing steps. We've generated our inventory for the 12 pieces of finished goods, which is the lounge chair. So we've built 12 lounge chairs. If we jump back to our sales screen here, we're going to see here that for our sales order that we entered into the system, we now have our inventory in stock.
And now I'm looking at these 3 column headers. Point to sales item, ingredients, and production. So now I see we've got the sales item status, the ingredient status, and the production status. I just noticed this now. The column headers at the top. Do you see where I'm talking about? Yeah,
course,
up there. Sales items, ingredients, and production. So production for this sales order is done. The ingredients are processed, and the sales items are in stock. So we have a status for each level, which is great. And I'm just now realizing what you were trying to explain to me earlier in this call, is when it says expected, it's not looking at lead time, it's looking at an outstanding purchase order and the ETA of the purchase order. And if it says not available, that means yikes, we don't have a purchase order, or we don't have a manufacturer order, and we need to get one. I like it, and that makes sense why next to not available in the production column it says make. It's like, hey, it's not available, you got to make it. But we don't have to make the ones that have the yellow expected, because there's either a purchase order or a manufacturer order that already has an ETA, and it's expected on that day. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great explanation of it. And really is when we talk to our customers, this screen is probably one of the most raved screens from our customers, because it gives them so much information. It's so actionable, but then easy to access the information that it's related to. Whether you want to jump to the production order, maybe you want to see the open POs that you're waiting to receive in. You have the ability to go and dive into that right from this screen, but can already see, the status very quickly from, the color coding of it.
Yeah. Okay, so there's 2 other columns. There's a delivery column and an invoice column, and that's where we're going to go next, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to invoice this sales order. So, yeah, show us what that's all about. I see there's a delivery and an invoice. I guess those are two separate steps. So you can deliver something or ship something without invoicing it, and you can invoice it without shipping. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, exactly. Similar to, I guess, the purchasing side, you can go in and say that you've delivered something, so you can actually pack first, and maybe when you put it into a pack status, that's when that's going to trigger you to then say, okay, I've packed that product. We should now go and create the invoice for it. That might be a workflow that makes sense for a business. I can then hit create invoice. That's going to go ahead and create that invoice over in QuickBooks. When the status is moved to packed, if the invoice had already been created, that's when inventory on the balance sheet would be affected. So that would reduce your inventory on your balance sheet once the status of your sales order is moved to packed. And then, so we've now created that invoice within QuickBooks. And then I can actually say deliver all. So maybe we packed it, we're ready to ship it out. I can then hit deliver all, and that would move our sales order over to the done section within the system.
Yeah, let's go take a look. At this point, boom, an invoice was created in QuickBooks like instantaneously when you click that invoice, right?
That's right. So yeah, if I was to click that invoice, it would create the invoice over in QuickBooks, and you can click on it and you can open that up right from the system.
Oh, that's cool. You don't have to go over to QuickBooks and look it up. You can just click and it links and loads. Wow.
That's right, exactly. So we can see here our customer, we have our invoice information, the products that we shipped out and are now invoicing our customer for. So that's all available and visible in here.
Yeah, that's awesome, Sean. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so we looked at the integration between Katana and QuickBooks at the beginning of this video, and then I think we'll put chapter things in the video, the time stamps in the video. So if you'd like to, you can go straight to the bill that was created and review that, or straight to the invoice that was created and review that. And I guess the only thing we haven't looked at is the balance sheet. Let's look at that. Let's go to QuickBooks and look at how receiving affected the balance sheet. Maybe we can go to the general ledger or the asset account. Probably want to see the general ledger, the asset account, so we can see the inventory go up when we purchased and then the inventory go back down when we sold, right? So Katana created bills, it created invoices, and it sent journal entries to the asset account. Thanks for joining us today. It's always great to co-produce a demo of Katana with Sean. We'll be doing more of these, of course, and please subscribe. Like if you like this. We'd love to hear your comments. Always value comments, but yeah, be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more Katana videos and other inventory software videos that connect to QuickBooks. That's what we do here at Brando Consulting, is we help you find the right inventory software. We help you set it up, and we teach you how to use it successfully. Help you ultimately have success with growing your business and finding the right software and successfully implementing it or onboarding it.
Thank you very much for having me, Lance. Really appreciate it.